Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary. Now, long story short, things have gotten a lot busier lately, and thus the creative juices are running low. So for today's episode, I simply wanted to code something, and I thought it'd be fun to build on a previous attempt at a puzzle game. Now, as a quick recap, the project was a last-minute idea centered around tile placements, and I've been wanting to expand on the concept somehow, so it seemed like a good idea to use that as a basis for today's project. So instead of numbered tiles, I thought we'd theme it around world building. So several land tiles were added, and data for said types were stored in a global array via structs. Moving over to our controller, you'll see that we've got 3 different tile layers. The first is the general world layer, the second is for extra details, and the third is used for world collisions. So in this example, the first layer displays the floor tiles, the detail layer creates that extra depth below the floor tiles, and the collision layer prevents the player from falling into the dark void around them. And back to the code, in terms of variables, we have several for tile placement control and potential creatures. More on those later. For now, let's move over to the large list of functions. The first 2 functions quickly do the math to either snap coordinates to the world grid or convert world coordinates to grid coordinates. The switch mode function toggles placement mode on and off, with on generating a random tile type that can be placed. The tile sync function does a couple of things. First, it runs through the entire world grid and sets the collisions accordingly. So if a cell is empty, aka the void, it's considered a wall, so to speak. However, if the cell is not empty but the space below it is, the detail layer adds that extra little visual extension to give our world tiles quote-unquote depth. Next, when a tile is placed, a literal cross pattern check is made, which is where the previous puzzle project inspiration comes into play. That check is then used with our final tile function, which has been labeled a tile style. Essentially, it alters the tile at a given position based on the 2 types provided via arguments. For example, a water tile and a grass tile will create a marsh tile. The next function is just one of many custom functions that shorten or streamline built-in GameMaker functions. Now, the next few functions are based around the idea of creatures inhabiting this world. So via struct, these creatures are given tiles they both love and hate, and their happiness would theoretically change based on location. The next 3 functions add, remove, or find creatures based on the ID provided. And the final function is a call function, which would allow the player to rally the creatures, which is handled as part of our final function, the tick function. And starting with a couple controls. First, the player can toggle display data via tab. When active, the display will show all creatures currently active on the left side of the screen. It will also provide a hint box displaying info on whatever tile the player is currently hovered over. And this box is somewhat dynamic in size and will alter itself properly to fit the text provided, which took so many variables. Anyway, back to the controls. If the player is in placement mode, a left click will allow them to place their tile. This first checks for an empty space, it then places the tile, checks for the tile styles, and then syncs all the layers. And next up is the player. A tile check is constantly made, and if the player is on either water or lava, their movement speed is slowed. Then, using our typical movement code, checks are made to the collision layer before actually moving the player. And finally, if the player is on either water or lava tiles, particles will be generated accordingly. For water, it's a splash effect, and for lava, it's a smoky burning effect. Now, rounding out our ticker code for creature behavior. First, if the tile they're currently on or near is the tile they hate, the creature will immediately attempt to run away from it. Else, the creature will simply patrol in a random direction. Every so often, it will decide to either keep moving or stop moving. If it decides to keep moving, another condition is checked. If the creature is in follow mode, they will aim to move towards the player. Else, they will choose a new random direction. The timer is reset and the creature begins moving to their new destination. And transitions into / out of movement and movement directions are all eased in an attempt to make movement less snappy. And that just about wrapped it up for the session. And nothing too crazy in terms of ideas added, but again, this was less about the creative aspect and more about just coding things into existence. And the goal was to build off the initial idea of tiles being placed and how they interacted with other tiles. But now we have player interaction to go along with those tile interactions, and possibly creature interactions as well. However, I'm not very satisfied with the creature idea at the moment. While I currently have no real overarching idea, there was the expectation that creatures would be involved. But if I want to utilize the collision layers to its fullest extent, I have to use GameMaker's objects instead of structs, because GameMaker's built-in pathfinding functionality does not work with structs, as far as I can tell at least. I do know that with this project, I want to create something relaxing for a change. I feel like our current batch of projects are focusing heavily on the action and challenge that comes with said genre, so creating something less intense would be nice. So now that we've got a solid foundation set, once the creative juices are flowing again, this should be a fun one to return to. But for now, however, this brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary. So if you enjoyed today's entry, consider leaving a like. Be sure to also subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already, and do let me know what you think we could do with this project in the future. Just remember that we're going for a more calm experience with this one. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.